news. The first news is about to be further grim news to the baby making project that is out here. So this is from CNBC. Raising a middle-class child will likely cost $286,000, according to USDA data. More than 12.5 million children in the U.S. live in poverty. Even middle-class families are increasingly struggling to pay for everyday expenses. The United States Department of Agriculture published a report using 2015 data that estimated expenses of child rearing from birth through age 17 in a middle-class income of family of 2 adults and 2 children is $233,000. With inflation, that number translates to almost $286,000 in 2022, but adjusting for inflation may not be enough. Childcare costs have actually outpaced inflation. In 2020, childcare expenses rose 5% year over year compared to the annual inflation rate of just 1.2 at the time. I'm just going to grab a quote. The fact is that sending an infant to daycare in many places across the country could be significantly more expensive than in-state public tuition to send them to college, said Elise Gold, senior economist at the Economic Policy Institute. So, fellas, we have 2 gentlemen on the panel that are fathers.
That are asked out. I'm about to say, nigga, what's the solution? Don't have kids, nigga. Don't have kids. That's the solution.
Yo. Listen, I'm going to say, I don't know about Hawk, but I got a lot to say on this shit because real talk, this is why I got a lot of friends of mine like, oh, you're such a good dad. Why you only having one? Because it's expensive, motherfucker. I've been saying this shit forever. It is expensive, all right? I mean, like, all right, so my kid is definitely middle class. You know, I was just telling Kel this shit the other day when he's like, damn, he doesn't get a break. I'm like, no, motherfucker, he doesn't get a break. All right, this kid lives a middle class life. My son just finished his lacrosse season and last week, a week ago, and he's already at football camp every Monday and Wednesday night from 6 p.m. to 7:30. And that's going to be all the way until football season starts at the end of mid-August. That cost me $250 a month for the next couple of months. He's still in school until the 24th of this month, but right after the 24th, 4 days later, he starts STEM camp, from 8 o'clock in the morning till 12 noon, Monday through Friday. And that's 6 weeks, and that cost me $728 or 20 something, like around $30. All right. Then after that, it's like after that 6 weeks is over, he's got lacrosse camp, which is $327 a week for 4 weeks, and that's in the morning from 10 in the morning until 12, I think till 12 or 1 o'clock, something like that, somewhere around those 3 hours. And that is just over the summer, keeping him busy. And Kel will tell you, I also have a tutor for my son, all to keep him on par with his education, keep him active and doing something so he's not sitting in front of the TV all damn day or sitting in front of his cell phone all day. That's not including food costs, clothing, because he's growing. He's only 10 years old. And I could tell you, these kids grow out of some clothes, boy. I just replaced a cell phone that he dropped in the pool. That cost me another $250. Like,
you would have been asked out for that with that cell phone. That's just me.
Well, bro, listen, in this day and age, you need that means of communication and a way to attract these little motherfuckers. All right, so,
I know.
So it's just like, yo, I feel this article. I feel it. I'm 100% on it, and I'm black. Right? You know what I mean? I ain't even rich, bitch. Like, nigga. Yo, Hawk, what you got on it?
Yeah, well, it's I've told you all before. My son is out of that daycare shit, but that shit was costing $10,000 a year just for daycare. So,
whoa, 10,000?
Only
yeah,
10,000?
Yeah, you go back to the tapes. I remember I said that's what I was paying. Well,
Yeah,
he's
man.
7 now. That was when he was 1 and 2 and 3 and shit like that. You know what I mean? But yeah, that shit was $10,000 a year just for him to go to fucking daycare.
I'm with
So,
it. And
yeah,
here's the thing.
this public tuition it was definitely a public tuition, a college tuition.
And
But
correct me if I'm wrong, Hawk, but you still got paid that tuition even when they don't have school, even when the school closes for
yeah, even if the school
holidays,
closes,
weekend,
you
this,
still
that,
gotta
and the other.
pay.
You still
Yeah.
got to pay that full tuition.
Yeah. On holidays, weekends, all that shit, you still gotta pay. But the problem with this being is saying it's raising for middle class because assuming that middle class parents are still actually going out and working, it doesn't equate for the lower income because they're assuming that somebody's staying home with this child. So it affects the middle class more because middle class, you're like, well, I gotta go to work. I need somebody to I need to put my child in daycare. I don't have a grandmother or somebody that's stay-at-home person that I can leave a baby with. So I got to put them in daycare. So it's going to be expensive. If I was more than impoverished and I had a grandmother at home that was, 54, 38 and shit, and she could take care of this baby while I go and do whatever the hell I need to do. So yeah, it definitely affects the middle class more. But it's not just the cost of that. It's the cost of fucking everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
If you're paying like Black Zeus said, with all the costs that he's paying for his kids, if you're still paying $5 a fucking gallon for gas and he's doing all that running around, your costs are just going up. You know what I mean? But yeah, childcare is fucking expensive. The early stages, fucking expensive. You know what I mean?
When the relief comes in when the child turns what, 7, 8 years old, where
the relief comes in when the child's out of the fucking house and they get a fucking job and they're able to pay you back.
I was gonna say a teenager when they can actually, work a part-time or something at the mall or some shit, and pay for their own clothes, pay for their own cell phone.
Eases up with some of that. Yeah, as they get older and they're not growing out of clothes as fast and they're still gonna eat you out of house and home and shit.
So teenage stage.
Teenage stage.
Yo, you ain't never lied, bro. Keller, y'all been to my house. I got 3 refrigerators because I gotta feed this mother. Like,
yeah, you was about to call him a motherfucker. Go ahead. You might as well finish the sentence.
I gotta feed my child. Keep it PG.
But that's the thing. So you, like you said, you gotta feed them, but all the cost of food is going up. So your cost of $233,000 or almost $286,000, they're putting that cost with the fact that everything is going up. You know what I mean? If they could somehow, I don't know, restructure the economy somehow, then maybe the child care wouldn't outpace it. But I remember paying that, and that was shit. We talking more than 7 years. Well, about 7 years ago.
Yeah,
between 5 and 7 years ago. So,
Hawk, maybe you can attest to this as well. That doesn't cover, when you send your kid to childcare, that doesn't cover like any extra expenses like food. You still got to send lunch.
Still got to send lunch, yeah.
Oh, time out. That shit doesn't include lunch?
Nope.
That's crazy.
That shit includes a roof over your kid's head.
That's it. Oh, and this ain't like, you're not getting like, anybody that, has like a bachelor's degree in child education or anything like that.
Oh yeah, we know that, bro.
There's one person in that whole building that got a degree, that got an associate degree to get the child just to open up the place. Everybody else is like somebody's, nana, grandma, some girl that's like, teenage years or something like that. You know what I mean? That's looking for a summertime job.
Mm-hmm. Kelvin, what you got on this, bro?
The flip side, as the middle class person, the last flip side of that is, you say, well, they have public options, but you look like, as you just said, all that with the degrees and shit. You look at the public options, you're like, yeah, a lot of shit happens, and people, that's their pride and joy, their baby. So if they gotta bite the bullet at this point, you gotta do what the fuck you gotta do, or what you feel comfortable with.
Yeah, niggas need to save up for kids like how they do for houses. So Especially, assuming that the kid is planned, I need to save up like an investment. Obviously, you cannot save up $250,000, but if y'all saying that the most expensive ones, okay, now if you're saying that the most expensive years is like them first, or if that the first couple years gonna be expensive, you gotta save some up. You're playing for everything else. This is assuming that the kid is planned.
Yeah.
Well, even if the kid's not planned, let's say the kid is let's say you're just let's say you're not balling like that, let's say you're, 40,000 or something like that. It just means the fact that if you're serious about this parenting thing, it means, guess what, homie? No more going to the mall and getting the freshest outfits, the brand new Yeezys and staying in style. It means going to the clearance rack at TJ Maxx, at Marshalls, you know what I mean, and do what you got to do. You know what I mean, for to buy yourself clothes and this, that, and the other. It means no more going out to the club, the bar, and wilding out, buying drinks and all of this, that, and the other. It means now you're going to the diner and you're going to Friendlies and this. You know what I mean? You're going low budget.
Mm-hmm.
So no more. No more shopping sprees.
No more shopping sprees.
No more late night clubs.
No
more VIP.
No more VIP. No more.
No more VIP. More like VIM.
Yeah, word up. I'm trying to tell you, it's real talk.
I don't know, man. All of this, man, all it does, man, is just make the baby birth rate crisis even more dire, man. It's just like, to Kelvin's point, if you got to treat babies as a luxury item and shit, you got to save up for it, then, how long does that take for some people based on their income? A lot of people don't make income like that. So make that type of bank. So,
babies have always been a luxury item.
Mm-hmm.
Babies have always been a luxury item.
Not to this degree, though.
If you think back in, let's say, caveman, whatever, if you had every infant that you had to come up with enough food, shelter, and protection for every single soul. And as that soul came along and it grew and it got bigger and this and that was more time you had to commit, more resources you had to commit.
But dog,
it
was different though.
No, it was different. It was different because again, you had a village, man.
Exactly.
So when you have somebody that listen, so we got Keisha, and Keisha, we know Keisha doesn't work on this day, so Keisha watches the kids on this day. All right.
Yeah.
And now Victoria watches them on this day because she doesn't work. So all the kids go with it. Like it was set up different. You know what I mean?
It was set up different.
Now you gotta send your kid. You're by yourself. You're like, yo, my kid. So my kid has to go to this program. These programs are expensive as hell. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And then secondly, the second point I was gonna say to that was, back in the day before child labor laws, your kid became an asset by the time they were 12, bro. Like they were working, like legitimately working at the age of 11 and 12 before child labor laws.
Absolutely.
So it's not like
because it was a luxury you could not afford to not have them work.
That's what I'm. So it wasn't like you had to save and invest in your child all the way to 17 to and pour all this money into them. Like, this is absurd. The past 40, 50 years of this has just been crazy. And
sorry,
go ahead.
No, finish your point.
Nah, and I just think that this is not going to necessarily bode well for the birth rate. A lot of people have made mention of the consequences of the birth rate being low, and reading a report like this doesn't help. People, not necessarily like myself, but people who think about these matters, just like, how do you expect the future generation to really want to have children if this is going to be this much of a financial burden?
Well, it's 143,000.
Well, here's what I'm gonna say, and it's gonna sound a little controversial, but you can't get around the statistics and the facts that before there was a shift in our society where, it became this thing where women were more focused on themselves, their careers, and their own lifestyle, and this, that, and the other. They were home to take care of these kids. So you wouldn't have to pay for child support. You wouldn't go out and buy food. You would have food cooked at home. Mm-hmm. You had a stable family system. So your kids didn't need to have therapists and be on antidepressants because, their family structure's all fucked up, and now they're out here in these streets and living a fucked up life, at a young age and everything. They weren't out here doing all these drugs and all this other bullshit. Whole thing is like, once you fucked up the family, the family dynamic, everything was basically a domino effect. All right, there was no such thing as daycares and what do you call it? Child care, this, that, and the other. In our grandparents' age, family was it. You know what I mean? There was no such thing as fast food and delivery and Uber Eats. Family was it. But we completely destroyed that. And now we're saying we're in a better place. And it's like, are we though? Are we really? We might be a better place individually, but as families, as society,
I don't even know if we could say that individually we are in a better place, man. We're seeing sky high depression and suicide and all these other issues that is, plaguing people. Man, I think the U.S. state of the, people's mentality is just bad. All right, let's transition to the next story. I actually kind of touched on this last week with the fellas, but I didn't go in depth in regards of the source of this news and some of the statistics. But this is from the Pew Research Center. Young women are out earning young men in several U.S. cities. The gender wage gap is narrower among younger workers nationally, and the gap varies across geographical areas. In fact, in 22 of 250 U.S. metropolitan areas, women under the age of 30 earn the same amount as or more than their male counterparts, according to the new Pew Research Center analysis of Census Bureau data. New York, Washington, D.C., Los Angeles metropolitan areas are among the cities where young women are earning the most relative to young men. In both the New York and Washington metro areas, young women earn 102% of what young men earn when examining median annual earnings among full-time year-round workers. In Los Angeles, Long Beach, Anaheim metro area, the median earnings for women and men in this age group were identical in 2019. Just one more stats. Overall, about 16% of all young women who are working full-time year-round live in 22 metro areas where women are at or above wage parity with men. I'll keep the rest of the information up. So, fellas, what do we think about this sort of progression of women today, and any other feelings about this stat?
I'm happy for them. So they just need to stop complaining about how they don't get paid as much.
Thank you, Cass.
Right there, Al. I'm glad that because
it seems like you have made it now.
It's finally equal. Yeah, these niggas have made it. I'm glad that things are equal. So, I mean, the only downside is now they about to find something to fucking complain about.
Exactly.
So,
what is the other
but I'm glad.
Well,
I don't know.
I'm going to fill in the complaint. I'm going to fill in the complaint because I was thinking the same thing. But here's what I'm wondering. With those stats and those statistics, and that women are making this much money, X, Y, and Z, and if they are equal, if we are really equal across the board, are women now going to be okay?
No, we are.
Huh? Are women now going to be okay?
No, we are. We're equal.
Is their expectation going to be different? Are they now going to say, you know what, we are equally paid, so we can equally split the bill. We could equally pay for the date. We could equally pay for the wedding. We could equally do all that other shit.
Well, technically, they should be paying 2% more because they make 102% more than us.
There you go.
So I should only have to pay for 48% of the day.
Word up, absolutely. Because my whole thing is, it's like the bitching and moaning was always that. Oh, we don't get paid like y'all do. Y'all, for every dollar a man makes, we get 77 cents. But yet, y'all don't pay 77 cents worth of the bill.
No, they got paid 33% or 23%, okay. But they still don't pay it.
And God forbid a man asks them to or expect them to.
Yeah, I think they should pay it, especially when generally, if you get down to the bottom, the male is still working a longer work week than
exactly,
and still expected to do more.
Yeah,
expected at the end of the day,
longer, but still get the same pay that a female gets.
At the end of the day, our society says women should get equal benefits, but men should make more sacrifices. How does that make sense?
Yeah, it doesn't. Oh, because the women have the babies.
Oh, the women have, so do fucking cockroaches.
Damn, bro. Sure.
Let's keep it 100. Let's keep it 100.
Bro, and there's probably male cockroaches out there.
You want extra credit for a biological function that has nothing to do with society or nothing to do with the male whatsoever. You want extra credit for something that you didn't sign up for, you didn't volunteer for, you didn't make it so. You want extra credit. That's like me, and I'm 6'1", somebody else is 5'2", and I want extra credit because I can reach the top shelf. How does that make sense?
I know you was about to use me in that example, but you gotta share my feelings. It's cool though.
This nigga's like, I'm 6'1".
Exactly. Where you going with this? Where you going?
Yeah, where you going?
But you see what I'm saying. But you see what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But
right.
It was like I'm 6'1", at least 5'5".
Yeah, the other part with this, like we've talked before, this would be expected if you have more females in school.
Yeah.
No, not more females in college than
all
more
of the
outpacing.
Don't forget all the government support and systems put in place for females to help females succeed.
Yeah, so
don't forget the societal mindset that we have to do more for females to the point where we've overcompensated.
I like the information because I want to test it. I want to see what y'all was saying when I go out. I want to see, like, you make 102% more. I mean, you make 2%.
I'll be sure to send the article to you.
What do you think people was going to say when I say, so you're paying the bill today, right?
They're gonna say, "Go fuck yourself."
Like that's what I'm gonna get, Black Zeus.
That's what you're gonna get.
So I'm gonna have to either print this article or I'm gonna have to screenshot this.
Because here's the thing, bro. Here's the thing. They might be getting 102% to pay, but they still have 201% of the entitlement.
So they want my half.
Damn, son.
That's how that works. That's how that works, bro. They might get 102% of the pay, but they still have 201% of the entitlement.
So what's going? All right. So this is the question: what is it going to take to shift the mindset of women today to make them realize, like, yo, men are not out earning you to the degree in which they like to perpetuate these numbers? What is going to take for them to be equal contributors, whether it's in a household or just on a dating scene?
Men across the board have to say, fuck you, we're not doing this no more.
Okay.
And you got to get information like this out.
Like, got to get it out.
Hold on,
let Smith finish his thought.
We just hear in the news a lot. They were saying that, women were outpaced by men. You know what I mean? That was the narrative for a long time. So now the narrative has shifted. Let's hear it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Talk about it. That's all.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's hear what y'all saying. I don't think it's going to make a difference.
Damn.
Why not, bro? Go back to...
Because you got this word called simping.
Yeah, well, they're going to go...
That's why.
There's still certain things that a man should do for a woman. Like open up the door and pay for a date.
Females don't like you opening the door for them nowadays, though, bro. So...
they don't like that no more?
No, they don't. You'll open the door for them and they'll tell you to go through that shit. It's weird now, bro. It's weird.
Yo, you've encountered that, bro?
Yes. You haven't?
Yeah.
Well, I guess you're not opening a lot of doors for females. You're a married man.
Yeah, you're right.
And then
well, the thing is, I don't go to
environment is probably more men than there are females.
Yeah, you're
My work
absolutely
environment
right.
is a female-driven environment. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like even like outside of work, the places I visit really doesn't have a lot of females. Like I go to Home Depot, that shit got automated.
It's automatic.
Yeah, it's just automatic. You know.
Yeah, that narrative has shifted though. It is different and weird though.
All right, well, shit. All right, well, yeah, we got to put that number out there. We got to put that information out there.
Yeah, the number got to get out there, though, because that's, I hadn't heard of this. I'm like, oh, yeah, and it's like Kel took the right words for everybody. Like, okay, y'all can shut the fuck up now.
To be honest, this was so buried in my... I think because of the type of articles I look up for... I was able to see this information, but the major news outlets, they're not reporting this new, and you would think they will applaud this, but I think they don't want to recognize this information
because it doesn't benefit guys.
The pushback is going to be, but that's only the young women. What about the older women? See, it's always something.
But to your point, though, even when you break down the older women, they're not working the number of hours. What you say, Cal?
I was going to say, isn't that the average, including older women too, or no?
Well, it was breaking down like
29.
Yeah, like women under 30 were making this sort of progress. Like the women over, 35 and 48, they weren't making the same amount as their male counterpart. But to Smith's point, when you read further into this story, you find out that the older demographic of women, they're not working those hours like that.
Working those hours, yeah.
So it's just like you got to push back with that narrative. It's just like when they come back, like, but what about the older women? Well, the older women, they're not working full time like that.
They're working less, exactly. So yeah. I mean, I understand.
Yeah.
You want to get paid equal for working less? That's some bullshit.
Yeah. All right, next
that's
story.
Not even realistic.
Yeah, but it's the Victim Olympics, man. The Victim Olympics. This one I found. I'm glad to hear this outcome. So this is from the Wall Street Journal. The judge strikes down California law mandating women on boards. Decision follows a similar ruling last month on a separate law requiring racial or ethnic diversity on boards, like executive boards. A state judge struck down a California law requiring companies in the state to put female directors on their boards, second legal setback in as many months for efforts to mandate board diversity. Judge Maureen Duffy Lewis of the Superior Court of California in Los Angeles ruled that the 2018 law was unconstitutional because it violated the Equal Protection Clause of the state's constitution, according to a copy of the verdict. The California law mandated that the public companies with headquarters in the state have at least 2 or 3 women on their board by 2021, depending on the size of the board. Those that didn't face financial penalties. Last month, another judge in the same state court struck down a law requiring public companies in California to have at least one racial, ethnical, or otherwise diverse director by 2021. Judge Terry Green said that the law improperly mandated heterogeneous boards and must protect the right of individuals to equal treatment. The lawsuit was also backed by Judicial Watch. So, what do we think about these judges basically pushing back on these initiatives by? I don't know who really pushed these initiatives to have these women mandated on these boards, but what do we think? Justice? Is this fair?
Yeah, like how you gonna have penalties for me not hiring who I want to hire? Well, first off, what's the benefit of having women on the board?
Oh shit!
Damn!
No, I'm asking. Like, what's the rationale? What's the rationale behind? Like, okay, we need to have women on the board for what reason, Al?
Yeah, because I'm gonna say this. Because gay ass Tim is just as feminine as this goddamn girl that's gonna be on this board. I know I'm getting us in trouble, but
yes, you did, bro. Why you say that? Both you and fucking Kel just said some shit that I gotta work around.
I'm asking. I'm not saying they're not. I'm just asking the benefit. Is it like a part of a brain trust that niggas want to have? Like,
I know you asking a legit question, Kel, but the way it's coming across like this misogynistic motherfucker.
Yeah.
We have to have women. No, like I have to have a one. That's like, oh man, breaking news. Niggas on the NBA now have to have a fucking woman on their staff. Why?
You're right.
Not saying it's a good or bad thing, but why? Like, what's the rationale behind it?
Diversity. They want diversity.
So then why not have niggas from like different walks of life, huh?
Yeah, diversity, perspective, shit like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but y'all forcing that perspective on me,
I get it, because it would be like if someone came into this company and said, "Hey, y'all gotta have a woman, y'all gotta put a female on here."
Yes, like come on, huh?
You know what I mean? Like you have to have a female, and it's like
it's not like I'm not opposed to having one. But
but it's like
to have one.
Come on, have to have one,
nah.
It's like maybe one didn't come along that we felt would fill the void or fill the role that successfully like we thought they would. Maybe that happened, but don't just assume that we didn't hire a female or not trying to hire a female. But to say that you have to have a female, the same way you have to have a black or ethnic person on your thing, like, you know what I mean? These are private companies too, right?
Yeah. These are private. That's the mind blowing thing about it. Like
private companies. You're
telling private companies to do this shit or face financial penalties. That's crazy.
For me, if these dudes, if their sales, or popularity or whatever is decreasing, I would think that these niggas would be like, you know what? We need to add a different perspective to make it work. But like, if my sales are working or our company is still making money, why do I have to switch up what I'm doing?
Or here's a thought. Maybe those females that have applied for the job don't qualify. Is that a possibility? I'm sorry, but that's the hard reality that nobody wants to admit. It's like, just because you are female, just because you are black, just because you are this, that, does not entitle you to something. You have to still earn your keep just like everybody fucking else.
Yeah.
Like we don't have we're completely losing the system of meritocracy that we built things on, and now saying no, you get it by default because you're a woman, because you're black, because you're trans, because you're gay, or this, that, and the other. It's just like that shit is fucking irrelevant.
Yeah,
it's fucking irrelevant.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I still struggle. Go ahead, Cal.
I'll just end it with I would think that as prideful as these women are, they wouldn't want a job to just be handed to them. Wouldn't they want to earn it?
Nah, you'd be surprised how many women probably would just take advantage of that shit.
Once again, you know what it is? They're not even thinking about the job or if they're going to bring anything to the table or make it better. That's not their incentive. Their incentive is, I want to get paid like a man. I want the benefits of a man. I don't want to put the work in. I don't want to do the struggle. I don't want to be, I want Steve Jobs money, but not be Steve Jobs.
Yeah. And the crazy thing now that we put this woman on this board, now we got to be on eggshells around here and shit. Like, that's the other part. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now we got
and it's not to say that. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was just going to concur with Smith. You're right. Because then there is that whole like, oh, now we have a woman to be a watchdog and correct you when you're not politically correct or woke or you're not saying things right, or you making them feel some sort of way because their feelings are more relevant than what the fuck the stats and the board says or what figures. And no, it's my feelings and fuck that.
Yeah, man. I remember when this first came out in 2018, and I saw this headline, and I was trying to think to myself, like, how does this benefit a company? And to Kelvin's point, this whole diversity thing is really getting really muddy and kind of dirty, because I really don't understand now the diversity of thought when it comes to certain businesses. Like if I sell sneakers, and I run a huge franchise, I don't see how having a woman on the board helps my sneaker sales unless she, sold sneakers herself or some shit like that. But or man.
Just the fact of this. Here's the other thing. You're
going to sell women's sneakers.
Here's the argument for diversity. You need a woman on the board so that she can give you a woman's perspective. Mm-hmm. So that one woman speaks to all the hundreds of thousands of millions of women. Exactly. Really? In all your life, we've all dated a number of women. Do all women fucking think the same way?
No.
Like, do they all feel the same way, think the same way, have the same... Like, we don't have a basis of where this is like a thing we can say all women are.
Yeah. And if you had... I'm going to go back to Tim, because transgender, and he became a transgender woman, wouldn't that solidify for our board?
Not that he even touched that one.
If he identifies, hey.
If he identifies as a female, hold up now,
saying, hey, listen, take one for the team, bro. I'm gonna give you an extra $50,000 a year if you identify as a woman.
Exactly.
Identify as a woman, so that we good. We beat out.
Or does he have to actually be one? No, he could be in the process like the guy that's winning the Olympics, not winning the Olympics, that's beating the girl.
Leah Thomas. Yeah.
Like Leah Thomas. I'm just saying,
no. I don't even think he should have to be in the process. Huh?
Oh, he didn't. Oh, he just has to identify as.
Yeah, that's all.
I think that's all it should be.
That's all it is. That's all it really is.
Hey, Cash, you laughing, but it's a it sounds like it's a funny question. I'm being.
I mean, that's a real thing.
I didn't make this stuff up in the world.
You're right.
That's a real thing.
And nobody should be arguing that loophole.
And nobody should be arguing that loophole.
We do have as a matter of fact, every nigga on our board is women. We don't have any men on our shit. We are the first private company.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Oh, shit.
The first company of its
kind. Be careful what you wish for, man.
Yeah.
Because good lawyers and good minds make shit real crazy.
Yeah, for real.
I'm just saying.
Yo.
Yeah. Oh, man. All right, well, shout out to those judges, man, for shooting down some lunacy that happened a few years ago and making it, pointing out that it was unconstitutional to try to relegate some shit like that. All right, next story. This is from NPR. Starbucks union says that the coffee giant is closing a store to retaliate. Starbucks is closing a store in Ithaca, New York, in what Starbucks union organizers are calling an illegal move of retaliation after workers at the location voted to unionize. The coffee giant gave the employees at the College Ave location near Cornell University a 1-week notice of the closure, and the union says with the store slated to permanently close on June 10th. It was one of 3 Starbucks locations in Ithaca that voted to unionize on April 8th. Workers at the College Ave location previously went on a 1-day strike in April for what the union says were unsafe working conditions, a waste emergency caused by overflowing grease trap. That was a quote taken by, I believe, an employee. Starbucks later cited the grease trap as the reason for shuttering the location, according to the union. Just one quote from the union representative. This is clearly a retaliation for our small grasp at dignity as workers, but our strike showed them what power we have, Benjamin South, an employee at the College Ave location, said in a statement. Starbucks basically said that wasn't the case due to the, being that a union was formed, they were citing all these safety precautions. So what do we think of the accusation that is made by these union organizers that Starbucks is closing based on them forming a union? We've touched on this in the past, so I thought this was a good story to focus on.
Honestly, first of all, it's Starbucks. Why are you forming a union that is something you ain't supposed to? Like, who the fuck is retiring off of Starbucks? Who's saying this is going to be my lifetime job, Starbucks, that you need to form a union? That's disturbing by itself. But But like, whole thing is, you know what? Two things. A, you don't have to work there if you feel like it's unsafe. For what, $8, $9 an hour, and not for nothing. Starbucks gives you medical insurance if you're there part-time. All right. They give you medical insurance if you're there part-time. So it's like, real talk. It's like, I don't think any job does that shit. I don't think any job does that shit. So I don't know what they're really complaining about right there. But if there's a safety issue, y'all motherfuckers can quit. And then guess what? Starbucks can be like, oh, well, there's a grease issue or whatever. Maybe we need to spend the money to get that fixed or whatever the case is. I don't know. But to say you're going to unionize seems kind of stupid to me. But, at the end of the day, yeah, I'm not mad at them. It's their fucking business. They can open and close whatever the fuck they want.
I got a question. Where's Starbucks cooking with the grease trap?
Yeah, I was thinking
that
too.
I know they make some food, but like you're not making fries or anything.
Yeah,
it's
like
I'm sorry,
they make bacon. They make bacon and sausages and shit, for their breakfast sandwiches.
Oh, okay. They do.
That's
now?
really all I can think about.
They do now, yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
they didn't do that before when I was in there.
But I thought that was like I thought that shit was brought in like that, and they just heat it up.
I don't think it is. I don't think it is. I would think that.
I don't know.
Maybe some of them do and some of them don't. Because I was asking my foster son who worked at KFC, and he said the niggas fry all their chicken from scratch. I thought that shit was like pre-brought in. So
no. When it comes to like KFC, Popeyes, this and the other, they get huge cases of chicken, and then what they do, they fry it there. They dip it in the batter and all of that stuff. Because I used to work at a Popeyes when I was younger.
So I got another question before I say something. Right. So these workers went on a 1-day strike. First, they just formed this union, right?
Yeah.
And they formed this union. And did they go through the right procedures, or did they just form this union and then, like, after they got this union, they just went on a strike because the grease trap had overflowed?
I don't know the timeline of events in regards of did they do the strike and got the union, or they had the union and went on strike. Is this for them? They felt like Starbucks breached whatever contractual agreement once they formed the union, and it's just like, hey.
Yeah, I understand what they were saying, but at the end of the day, like they say that Starbucks, they open and close different Starbucks throughout the country.
Yeah.
Periodically, it was saying that the spokesperson was saying that. I don't know if this was in retaliation, but it was the one out of the three that was there that they said, okay, we're going to shut this down. Now, again, I don't know how much fucking grease this is. I'm still on grease. I'm like, what the hell is Starbucks cooking?
Yeah, to me, that sounds like a nigga not cleaning.
Yo.
Yeah, so
that's what it sounds like to me. But
at the end of the day, like
real talk, just real talk.
Smith, finish your thought, Smith.
No, I was just.
Go ahead. I was just gonna approach the grease trap thing. But go ahead.
That's all.
When I was working years ago, in my teenage years, when I was working at a Popeyes in Irvington, whole thing is there's a company that actually does come and collect the grease and dispose of it. There is a company that does that.
With that shit, yeah.
Now, I don't think that they got that much grease at Starbucks, because like we were deep frying chicken and all of that shit. But like, I don't know how they do it at Starbucks, but like, I doubt that it's that much fucking grease, but my whole thing is, but once again, it's Starbucks. Y'all forming a union to work at Starbucks?
Yeah, but Black Zeus, I'm going with the grease because it's that much grease that we're going to close the whole store, that this store is no longer usable. That this is a box store. This is not like a what do you call that? Meals on Wheels things. It's an actual building that was built. So this grease was that bad that they got to close the whole store. They can't clean it. They can't have a cleaning crew come in or nothing. They just got to shut that shit down.
Yeah.
So these niggas close it out.
It might have something. It might have something to do with the retaliation of the union.
I think so.
No, I'm just saying. Like it might have something.
I would agree with that too. I'm not saying I don't say that it's not a retaliation.
Oh no, I'm just. Yeah,
I'm saying is
that's crazy.
It's Starbucks.
It's Starbucks. Exactly.
You're making a union to work at Starbucks. Like that's too much. You're doing too much.
Yeah.
Can you imagine Dunkin' Donuts or McDonald's people, out there unionizing and fucking
Oh, they're doing it, bro.
Are
They're doing
why?
Wait, but are Starbucks individual?
They're corporate.
People own individual.
Nah,
Starbucks
they're corporate.
like they own McDonald's and shit.
Nah, Starbucks is corporate.
Oh, okay.
That's what.
Yeah.
Cal, what you got on this, bro?
I don't know. I don't really drink coffee, so
You stupid.
like niggas are
Bruh.
I don't drink coffee. I just like that's why I like
because of unsafe conditions. I mean, yeah, I'm kind of a Schubert on this one, nigga. If you don't like working at Starbucks for whatever reason, you could take your job experience
to
and go to fucking Dunkin' Donuts. Yeah, niggas will hire you.
There you go.
Yeah, you might even get a promotion, bro. I think that's what they should do.
You go to Panera Bread.
Yo, for real.
I'm trying to tell you.
I don't know. I think Panera and Starbucks are like Mayweather and Pacquiao, bro. They're on the same level. But if they, go down to Dunkin' Donuts, them niggas will probably be like assistant manager. So I think that's what they should do. Such a going high in life, man.
But do Starbucks pay more than Dunkin' Donuts?
Yes.
I think Starbucks gives stock options too.
Yeah, they get. Yeah, I know there's.
That's why I was asking if it was a private.
The only reason why I know
all the workers could get together and open that shit back up, but you said it's corporate. That's what I was gonna say. Maybe the workers can get.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is the fact of what I know about Starbucks is because one of the guys I used to work with, who's a massage therapist, he does that as his main income, but he works at Starbucks part time for health insurance.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, well, that makes sense.
Well, this goes. I was gonna say this goes to Schubert's point some weeks ago when we were having this long, lengthy conversation about unions. Companies are going to do what's best for them. And you want to form a union, great, but these are the unfortunate consequences. And I think all of us agree that this does come across as a retaliation more than anything. I'm pretty sure the Starbucks do not give a shit about no damn grease traps. They're just, it's just a retaliation. And that's the unfortunate part. I think, this might force other locations to reconsider whatever union plans, that they might have coming up, or union votes that they have coming up, because these companies will take this course of action if they feel like this is not the status quo that they want for their corporation.
And you got to be careful about unionizing with certain companies like that, primarily because one, they only gave them a 1 week notice, and they be wanting 2 week notices when you get out. But also,
but people don't necessarily give it though.
Wait, no.
But let's finish this thought.
Right. Yeah. But I also want to say this: the company could have got those employees to go to other locations. So that shit was about unionizing.
Yeah.
In my eyes, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
They could have worked with them. They got 2 other locations in Ithaca, New York. They could have had them and structured it to where they could have worked at other locations. You know,
if they needed them.
Exactly.
If they didn't need them, here's the thing: people got to realize. People would say, "My job, my job." It's not your job. You work for somebody else. Mm-hmm. It's your time. It's your effort. But the job, the company, the building belongs to somebody. The uniform you're wearing belongs to somebody else, and you can't come in somebody else's house and try to tell them how to run it just because you dare. That's the problem.
Fair point, bro. Fair point.
Y'all gonna follow this. Y'all gonna follow this because there's nowhere in the world that a Starbucks by Cornell University is staying closed.
Yeah, because usually anything by a college campus
Cornell
is
University. And they love their Starbucks. I'm not a coffee person, but I know what they do with the Starbucks.
Yeah, but the whole thing is they might open up in a different way where it's just
they're going to open up in a different way.
They're going to open up and like, you got to sign this non-disclosure here that says that you can't unionize, you can't speak bad about Starbucks, you can't this, that, and the other.
Exactly.
That's the only way you get in this job right here, homie.
Yeah.
Because like within gyms, like as a trainer, when you're in a gym, they make you sign a non-disclosure that you will not compete against that gym. You will not work at another gym within a 10-mile radius of that gym. Within a 10-mile radius of that gym.
Yeah, what they call that, competition clause.
Yes, a competition clause, exactly.
Yeah, because I have one of those. Yeah. Let's end on a light note. this lawsuit. This is from NJ.com.
Oh, you did go back to that one. I was like, damn, he went past that.
Yeah, this lawsuit. So there's a lawsuit demands Giants Jets cut ties with New York and embrace New Jersey roots. Both the New York Giants and New York Jets call MetLife Stadium in East Rutherford home. Both teams also have their practice facilities in New Jersey. The Giants have the Quest Diagnostic Training Center next door to MetLife Stadium, while the Jets have the Atlantic Health Training Center in Florham Park. And that's the problem. The New York Post reports a $6 billion class action lawsuit against the Jets, Giants, and the NFL, initially demanding both teams pack their pads and leave the Garden State for the Big Apple. Now they're making a slightly more manageable request. The teams can stay in New Jersey, but must dump New York from their names. Let me just read off the quote. MetLife Stadium is located in the swamps of East Rutherford, New Jersey, which has a population under 10,000. It's not exactly an exciting romantic destination, and the Giants and Jets MetLife Stadium have absolutely no connections whatsoever with the city, county, or state of New York. Plaintiffs Adele Suro and Maggie Wilkins insist they were duped by false advertising and other fraudulent deceptive practices into believing that the Giants and Jets still played in New York and shelled out some of the significant green to see blue and gang green play at MetLife Stadium. So, fellas, what do we think of this lawsuit to demand that the Jets and the Giants drop their New York name and embrace New Jersey in their names?
Interestingly enough, they call New York Jets, but they call the Giants. They don't say New York Giants, but
they do.
I'm a Giants fan, but they don't really. We don't really call them the New York Giants, even though they are the New York Giants.
Yeah.
But I said that for a long time. You know what I mean? Like, they play over here in New Jersey, but they got New York names. At the end of the day, I don't know about this lawsuit. And
no success, bro.
False advertisement. Like, at the end of the day, when you watch these games, they're in East Rutherford, and it says that when you're watching the game. So you bought tickets thinking that you was going to be in New York City watching the New York Giants or the New York Jets. I don't know if the lawsuit's going to have any merit, man. This isn't any company. These are people.
These are people. That's what I'm saying. Like, yo, this is what you spend your time on. But hey, I don't knock you because I feel the same way. Go ahead, Schubert.
So, as a New York Giants fan, born and raised, I bleed blue. You know, I've got jerseys from Lawrence Taylor from 1986 to fucking Manning in 2007 to fucking Cruz in 2011. I bleed blue, and fuck that. It's the New York Giants. All right. I don't know about the Jets. Y'all can have the Jets.
For real, because them niggas been ass.
Y'all can have the Jets, but it's the New York Giants. And here's the thing: one, if your dumbass didn't do the research to find out where the game was, that's on you, homie. But like, what Giants fan or even New Jersey Giants fan doesn't know that it's in New Jersey? Everybody knows this shit already. But just because they play in New Jersey or whatever the case is, that's just like saying, like, okay, Starbucks started up in Seattle. If they called it Seattle coffee and then they expanded out to other states, they need to change by the state where they're doing business. Mm-hmm. Nah, bro, that's not how that shit works. And I'm sorry to tell you, Jersey, I'm gonna keep it 100 with y'all. New Jersey doesn't really have that appeal like New York. Everyone around the world knows New York. Like, it's kind of like outside of Miami, what the fuck appeal does Florida have? Outside of, you know what I mean? Like, certain places, like, it's just, it is what it is. What it is.
Orlando,
so
maybe.
Like,
but they saying that fraudulent practice had them believe that they still played in New York.
There's nobody that's dumb as fuck. If that's the case, there's a place right by me.
I got a question for you, Black Zeus.
Hold on. There's a place right by me called New York Bagels here in Verona, New Jersey. If you go down to fucking Bloomfield, there's a place called New York Gyros down in fucking Bloomfield. Like, it's just a name, people. Get over yourself.
So I'm not that old, I guess. But when did they ever play in New York?
That's a good question, huh?
They never played in New York.
Well, they're saying that the fraudulent, deceptive practices had them believing that the Giants and Jets still played in New York.
No one never said that. It was just the name of the team. That's it. It's a name.
Tell me what you got, bruh.
Yeah, I'm like, when the hell did they play in New York? Like, why would y'all think they played in New York? Where did you see that at? Your lawsuit is going to be, this is a waste of lawsuit. That shit funny, though.
What you got, Cal?
The niggas played the Giants. The first year that the team began playing at Yankee Stadium in the Bronx, in the borough of New York City, 1947. The Giants started playing in New York.
1947.
Yep. Then it said they returned to New York for one final season in 1975 and shared Shea Stadium with the Yankees, Mets, and Jets. They finally moved into their new home in New Jersey, October 1976.
That's a long ass time, bro.
That's what
I don't think there's any nigga who's still alive
in New Jersey. That's I only remember in New Jersey.
There ain't a nigga still alive who would accidentally fucking go to Met Stadium talking about I thought the Giants game was today.
Not anybody.
Went to Met Stadium said I thought the Giants game.
I'm sure not anybody that's been a real Giants fan.
Hey.
Not anybody that's been a real fucking fan all this
or not
time.
any nigga.
Met Stadium. My
God damn, niggas haven't played in New York since '76.
When did these niggas start playing football with bats? This shit don't make no sense.
Yo, he's stupid. Well, that's why they wear the helmet. That's why they wear the helmet. You know what?
Fuck that. I commend the lawsuit. I'm sick and tired of the disrespect to New Jersey. Nah, man,
I don't know, man. For me,
go ahead, Cal. Go ahead.
I don't think it makes a big deal, though. Like, I don't know. I get the whole draw of New York, but like niggas ain't really coming to New York for the Giants anyway, or for the Jets anyway. So I don't know. I think it's stupid that they try to get them to come out there and call themselves New Jersey. I don't really care one way or another. And I'm a Giants fan. So
they make it my fault, Kelly. They making it a class action suit though.
Yeah. See,
from anybody who was tricked by the team's marketing since 2016 and attended any game since 2016.
Bro, and it's a $6 billion class action lawsuit. This is not some chump change class action lawsuit that they filing, yo.
You know what else though? Like, what happens when these niggas be like, okay, you know what? Y'all niggas really want to fucking us to change our name? Fuck it, we're gonna go back to Yankee Stadium. And now these niggas don't have nothing out here. Like, have no sports teams at all in New Jersey.
The Yankees ain't gonna want the fucking Giants playing in their stadium.
That's true.
Yeah.
Fucking up their field? Nah.
Yeah, they definitely not gonna want to share that field, bro.
They're not gonna want to share that field. They're not gonna want to tear that field up. And then think about all the jobs and the money New Jersey would be fucking losing.
That's what I'm saying. So like, is it really worth it? Like, is it really worth it?
For these individuals, it seems to be.
For these individuals, I don't know. Maybe they're foreigners, and they didn't know.
And not for nothing, have you ever been to a Yankees game?
Yes,
twice.
Do you know how you realize how much traffic there is around that fucking stadium in that condensed ass area? Now you want to add in football too?
Yeah,
nigga,
New York does not even have the space to spare.
Exactly.
A football field, bro, and a training facility. Because you got to think, you got to also have these. They're not training in the same field. So
and you got to think about it. New York gets the name, but New Jersey gets the revenue.
Exactly.
So it's just like, you want the name or the money, homie?
Yeah.
Because in a minute, y'all cannot have any. Because we can move this shit to Ronkonkoma.
I mean, I'm just saying, like, you keep fucking around, man. Because at the end of the day, it's the owners, and they'll pull a Starbucks on your ass, like, you know what? Closing this bitch.